Hello again, and we're in the final exam review for Chapter 20 on incremental analysis. So let's just run through the summary sheet as to the important points to take out of Chapter 20 and review for. First of all, understand the concept of incremental analysis and the relevant costs and revenues that are involved. So we're going to go through in a minute a couple of examples here. So it's very important for you to understand which costs and which revenues are relevant to each situation in order to uh, make the right calculations and arrive at the right decision. Understand the concept of opportunity cost and how it's applied in a choice among alternative actions. So opportunity cost, you need to understand, is the opportunity to do something with your productive capacity that you will not be able to do if you proceed along the lines of continuing to produce versus possibly contracting something out and having available capacity to do something else that could make you some additional profit, just as an example. And thirdly, understand the calculations involved in determining whether it makes more sense to make or buy a product, and we'll be going through an example of that in a moment, or to discontinue a business segment or product line, or make a one-time sale of product at below market price, and we will be going through an example of that in a second as well, or choose which product to make with limited resources such as machine or labor hours. Alright, so our first review problem is the decision toolkit problem shown on page 1057 and 8, which is a make or buy decision. So here you're presented with some information about the problem, and so then it's up to us to present this information in such a way as to be able to make an informed decision on whether to continue to make the item or to outsource it and buy the item instead of making it. All right, so we have certain relevant costs here that we need to consider. First of all, we have direct materials of $60,000. We have direct labor of $30,000. We have variable manufacturing costs of $12,000, and we have fixed manufacturing costs of $8,000. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get that glare out of there a little bit. But we've been told that if we buy the item instead of making it, only half of those fixed manufacturing costs are going to go away. So in the buy situation, we're going to show then 50% of that 8,000 or 4,000 in that column, because as was provided to us, we're only going to not incur 50% of that 8,000. So we will incur the remaining 50%. Then the purchase price that we were provided is, if we buy these, we can get them for $2.15 a piece, and for 50,000 units, that gives us a total of $107,500 as the total purchase price. So when we look at the make versus buy decision, the net income impact of buying would be positive for the first four items: the direct materials, labor, and variable manufacturing costs, and at 50% of the fixed costs, that would all go away as a result of buying the item. But then we'd be laying out $107,500 to buy them. And so the question is, would the relief from all those costs up above be enough to offset the cost of buying them? And the answer is no. As we get down to the bottom line, we have a net loss in the third column of $1,500, which tells us that we should not buy the item, but we should continue to make it. So that's A. And we go to part B, which says, well, what if we put a little added twist in here and say that if we bought the item, we would then have some available capacity on the production line to do something else that would net us $25,000 more in net income. Well, when you're presented with a situation like that, this is what we call an opportunity cost, because if we don't take advantage of that opportunity to make that $25,000 additional net income by buying this item, then we lose out on the opportunity to make that, and that is why the $25,000 is an additional cost in the make column, because we're foregoing that as well as laying out the $110,000 that was computed above as the actual costs of making the items. The buy situation, on the other hand, remains unchanged from the calculation that we did in Part A, that is of $111,500, the $107,500 purchase price plus that $4,000 of fixed manufacturing that we have to sustain. Now, when we add those figures together and compare them, the make scenario is going to cost us $135,000 in total with that opportunity cost, whereas the buy situation will only cost $111,500 as it did before. What this means is that we're going to have an increase of net income of $23,500 overall if we go ahead and buy the items in this scenario. So that's what we should do. And notice how the $23,500 is the $25,000 of opportunity costs that we would stand to gain by buying the items and having that available capacity to make that $25,000 net income in-house, minus that $1,500 loss that we were taking before when we simply compared the cost of making versus the cost of buying, including those fixed costs that did not go away. Alright, so hopefully everybody gets that part of it. Now, let's go over to the do it exercise on page 1059, and this is an incremental analysis involving rejecting or accepting an offer by someone to buy your product at a lower price than normal. So here again, it's very important to look at what are the relevant costs and revenues involved in this, and I think we're going to find in this case it's pretty much on the cost side of things where we're looking. So we're given some information about the total cost to produce I believe 5,000 of these units, but in question is what is going to happen if we accept this offer from this company to buy 1,000 of the units, essentially for $165,000 or $165 a piece. So what we need to do in order to make that comparison and decide whether or not this is a good idea is to look again at the relevant costs, which are the costs that are going to change. Now, when we think of costs that change in relation to changes in production, we think of variable costs, right? That's what we learned in a previous chapter. So it would stand to reason that we want to isolate the variable costs per unit as the ones that are relevant in making this decision. And when we do that, we're looking at the materials, the labor, the variable overhead, not the fixed costs, and then the selling expense, which was given to us as $5 per unit, which tells us that that's a variable cost. So the materials, 500,000 divided by 5,000 is $100 per unit. Labor is $250,000 divided by 5,000, $50 a unit. Variable overheads, 100,000 divided by 5,000, $20 per unit, and then the selling expense was given as $5 per unit. That's $175 per unit. So when we go down to do the analysis here, in our reject column, nothing's going to change revenue-wise or cost-wise if we reject this offer. We're just going to keep on going the way we've done. But if we accept it, we're going to bring in revenues of $165,000 based on that price offer of $165 per unit for 1,000 units. However, we're going to incur $175,000 of new costs based on the unit cost we computed above there of $175 per unit, times those 1,000 units that they want us to sell them. So when we do the math on that, we don't have such a good deal. And again, when your relevant costs are such that they're going to exceed on a per unit basis the selling price that's offered by someone in this special offer type situation, you're going to reject it, because the impact on your net income is going to be negative, as it is in this case. We lose $10,000 to the bottom line, so it doesn't make any sense to accept this offer. So we're going to reject it, because overall, with the relevant costs considered, it decreases our net income. So hopefully everyone gets that.